Hello, beauty. I am Jennifer Ness Schmidt, coming in as Divinely Jennifer today on this beautiful, almost summer day to talk with you about the new moon in Gemini that is happening on June 17th or 18th, depending on where you are in the world. It's at 9:37 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, Mountain Standard Time on the 17th. And then if you are East Coast time or further east in the world on any other continent, it's at 12:37 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time and beyond on the 18th, June 18th. Happy birthday, Alex. Alex was my first love, healthy relationship that I had as a youngster, as a teenager, and I will always think very fondly of Alex. Unfortunately, we lived on two different continents, and so that made it really hard to be together. But I will always love Alex. Will always be a wonderful part of my memories as a young woman in the world. So as always, your likes, subscribes, comments, shares, and donations are so appreciated. Your feedback and questions are so valuable. I love answering your questions. So you can just leave them as a comment in YouTube, and then I can come back and answer them for you. You know, this new moon happens at 26 degrees, 43 minutes of Gemini. And I can't help but see some of the shadows in this new moon and in this Gemini lunar cycle. So if you're a Gemini sun, or you have a lot of Gemini in your chart, Gemini rising, whatever, please don't take it personally. I promise I will get to the gifts as well. I mean, that's the thing about Gemini, right? There are always at least three sides of the story, as they say: his, hers, and the truth. So Gemini has lots of different facets, like a diamond. And the diamond is beautiful because of its facets and the way they reflect the light, not despite the facets, but because of them. So I want you to think of Gemini in this way. Now, if you're really into the technical astrology part and wondering about some of the aspects for this new moon and the Gemini lunar cycle, I'll get to that towards the end. I know some of you are not so into that, so it's fine. I'll get to it towards the end because we've got some big moments coming up over the next few months, which I'll talk about. Gemini is traditionally about communication and ideas. It's considered a mutable air sign. So it's change like the wind, right? Wind, it's changing this direction, that direction, maybe a big gust, maybe a gentle breeze, maybe feeling a little stagnant. Gemini is really all the ways that we can be superficial, kind of on the surface, and hide our true selves from others. Think about our fear of being judged for the truth of who we are inside, or our ultimate fear that we won't be loved, or our ultimate fear in receiving love because we are loved and we're like, what? It can be challenging for a lot of us to receive love. And that can be, we can put up a wall, or we can just be someone else on the outside than who we really are on the inside. Gemini also represents siblings and our childhood. And, you know, we have a lot of teachers in our childhood, for better or worse, and our siblings are some of our best teachers as well. When I think about one of the shadows of Gemini, which, you know, it's like I said, it's air, communication, ideas. It's not about, sometimes what can happen with Gemini is we can flaunt how smart we are. Now, they say Elon Musk is a Gemini rising. No one actually, at least that I know online, has been able to discern or find out what time he's born to know exactly what his rising sign is. Now, flaunting our intelligence, you know, it's not about hiding how intelligent we are. Like if you're someone who's really book smart, you learn ideas, you learn things really quickly. It's not necessarily about hiding that, but it's about being discriminatory in how we communicate it to others. You know, we can be really vain, you know, if we're smart, because that's something that our culture really idolizes, and, you know, mental intelligence. But if we can discriminate in a positive form. Discrimination, yes, has its bad form, but it also has its good form because it's being able to distinguish when and what to communicate. It's to know when and what ideas are true to you or to me or to him or her or they, to know what ideas are true and not only true for ourselves, but for the greater good of humanity. And it's recognizing that the heart is the home, is the true home of intelligence. We can be right, we can be wrong, but the heart is really the truth, is where we find the truth. And that'll come in. We experienced a lot of that with a Gemini Sagittarius full moon that we had a couple of weeks ago as well. So this idea of intelligence and truth, knowing that it's right here in the heart. It's not about the facts we know or whether we can win on Jeopardy, which is pretty cool. If you can win on Jeopardy, you got a lot of facts in your head, and I bow to you. But it's not necessarily what makes us intelligent. Gemini also is the ways that we can be two-faced in a way that's a lie or untrue. Now, you might have multiple interests and communities. Like I have my yoga community and I have my entrepreneurial community and I have my neighbors and I have my spiritual community and I have all these different communities. And those don't have to be mutually exclusive. They're there. But if we're saying one thing and doing another, also known as hypocrisy, that's different. Gemini also can represent our vanity. Vanity is an interesting word. I remember when my sister got the LP for Carly Simon's You're So Vain, you're so vain. You probably think this song is about you. Don't you? Don't you? And I remember that song. And I don't know how old I was, 6 or 7 or something, when we still had LPs. And I remember going, well, what does vain mean? And of course, in my years, I've learned to experience vanity through myself and through others. And honestly, it all comes back to fear of being rejected. Again, like I was saying, fear of receiving love and exploding in ecstasy and bliss, fear of being seen for who we are and puffing up our big peacock feathers like we've got to be a certain way, we've got to look good, we've got to do this and that. I could have spent more time trying to figure out what to do with my hair this morning, but I'm going to yoga tonight, to hot yoga, and it's all going to sweat out. So I could be vain, I could care or not. If you reject me because of my hair, well, not really my problem, is it? So that's some of the those are some of the shadow sides of Gemini. And like I said, Gemini has lots of gifts because curiosity can kill the cat, but it can also be a gift. And it can keep us open to new ideas that can create magic. Gemini is fun and flirty and light. Gemini keeps us from getting into dark, some of that dark energy. It keeps things light filled. One of the things I love the most about Gemini is that it represents the unification of the divine feminine and the divine masculine within us. Now, this new moon is approaching a conjunction with Juno, the goddess of marriage and intimate partnerships, by less than 1 degree. So the moon will conjunct Juno rather, shortly after the new moon, and the sun will conjunct Gemini later Juno. Why do I keep saying Juno? Gemini. The sun will conjunct Juno later on the 18th. And to me, this really represents getting real and intimate with ourselves. Now, we'll get into relationships in Libra season, but for now, this is focusing on us inside, the Wonder Twins within you. I loved the Wonder Twins when I was a kid. And to me, that really represents some of the highest energy of Gemini. One divine being, you, me, one divine being integrating the masculine and feminine within us, within ourselves, not outside of you or me or through somebody else. And if you saw my Instagram post the other day, I love Qigong because it's the yin to yoga's yang. It's the Qigong has this voluptuous feminine energy to it for me in the stillness and the supplements, the slowness of the movements versus yoga. The yoga that I do, Bikram yoga, hot yoga, is really intense. There's a masculine will to it in a lot of ways. Now, if you don't follow me on Instagram and you missed that post, I post there almost every day. And if you don't like Instagram because it's Meta and Facebook and the blah, blah, I don't blame you. So I post the same content over on my Telegram channel, Divinely Jennifer. So you can hop over there and find it and see it as well. And there's like, you don't have to, you can just follow me. I don't, or you can just pop into my Telegram channel. I don't have to approve you or anything. So I encourage you to follow me there so you can see some of the day-to-day stuff that I'm posting versus these videos, which only come out once or twice a month. And then my newsletters, which come out a few times a month. Now, Gemini wants us to enjoy life and experiment. Do you know anyone with Gemini prevalent in their astrology chart who is a commitment phobe? That would be my son, the Gemini rising. And guess who is getting a Costco box of condoms when he moves into the dorms in August? Look out, women of IU Bloomington. Now, he said he's going to, he'll be open to having a girlfriend once he's in college, but I'm a little bit skeptical. And this is just part of who he is, that wanting to experiment and play and have fun. The shadow side of that is the lack of commitment and some lack of discipline. But I have high hopes for him that one day someone is going to knock him off his feet and he will commit. But in the meantime, I have to look after his health and the health of these young women at Bloomington. So speaking of health, Gemini is all about lungs. Oh, are you getting enough air? Gemini, sometimes we hold our breath because of fear. It doesn't matter what that fear is. We just hold on. I know that like yoga is so much easier, right? When we're breathing, Qigong, we breathe. Any exercise, any physical movement is made so much easier when we're breathing. Life is easier when we're breathing. So if you get the hiccups a lot, where are you holding your breath? Are there specific situations you get the hiccups in? Check and see if you're holding your breath because your diaphragm moves in and out every time we breathe, every time we inhale and exhale. Are you super stressed? Well, are your inhales a lot longer than your exhales? Are you that'll get you dizzy really fast. Versus when we're breathing, our breathing is even. Then it regulates our nervous system a little bit differently. Or when our exhales are longer than our inhales, then it puts us more into that state of rest and digest. It's why everyone recommends that you take a moment before you eat, whether you're saying a prayer of gratitude or what, because it gets us into that digestion phase. Now, if you're someone who sneezes, my daughter sneezes all the time. What new ideas are presenting themselves to you? Oh, and she's a Gemini sun. So, there you go. What new ideas when you sneeze, if you have a whole run of sneezes, or maybe it's just one sneeze that's interrupting a quiet moment, whatever, what new ideas are presenting themselves to you? Or what unhealthy patterns need to be broken? Your sneeze might be a reminder of that. And likewise, if you're prone to sinus infections, I used to get them all the time. How are you being untrue to the ideas you wish to bring to life? Or are you in a rut with your day-to-day routine? Where are you feeling stagnant and a little stale? So if you're prone to, sinus infections here in your cheeks or your forehead, they can happen to you any time of year. Look at where you might be feeling a little stagnant and a little stale. Where do you need some fresh air, right? If you're struggling to express your ideas or call in ideas, take a few breaths to settle, get some fresh air, go outside, or maybe you need to step into the air conditioning, but ideally go outside into the morning if it's too hot where you are. So I go out in the morning every morning or at night. Read or listen to a fresh perspective you haven't previously considered. Also, some really great message of Gemini that when we're stuck on things, it can actually impact our health and how we breathe. So a few last notes. I said I'll talk about some of this more technical astrology. So I'll mention what the astrology is, and then I'll interpret it. The new moon is in a T-square with Neptune in Pisces and Ceres in Virgo. Both of these planets are in signs they love, making this energy even stronger. And they're telling us not to drown in the seriousness of the world and all the turbulence that tries to divide us. That's, talk about that on mainstream media all the time. And frankly, even in alternative media can be a little bit fear driven and make us get really serious and tell us what to think and do and how to be. But instead, can you take heart in the delights of being human? Yes, being human is hard. We get it. Oh my goodness. How are we supposed to integrate and embody our soul and our spirit in this dense body that, maybe has some aches and pains and doesn't want to get out of bed in the morning? Transforming our suffering is actually how we heal physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, you name it. We can't think about it with our brains, though. Healing has to come from our heart. And honoring this incredible miracle called the human body here on planet Earth. So be compassionate for yourself. Be compassionate for those who are so very different from you, rather than resenting others, resenting yourself for the choices you've made or the ideas you have, shaming others or shaming or blaming yourself for your problems and your fears. So if you can let that go and have some compassion and find just a little bit more delight. We also have another T-square, and that's with Pluto. Now, Pluto is in a T-square with the nodes of fate, or the lunar nodes, for the entire year. And this T-square will go exact 3 times between July 25th and 28th, once the nodes change signs on July 17th. 90 minutes after the new moon in Cancer. So if you don't know what a T-square is, it's when you've got 2 planets or 2 points in opposition, in this case, the north and the south node, north node in Taurus, south node in Scorpio. And then you have a planet, they're both square another planet. And in this case, that would be Pluto in Capricorn, who is now ventured back into Capricorn out of Aquarius for a few months, and to go back into Aquarius, then back into Capricorn. And then finally in November of 2024, he will be in Aquarius for the long term. Now, right now with this new moon, I see this T-square symbolizing power struggles over food, farming, natural resources, finances, assets, and your physical body, your sexuality. God, Lord, we've got plenty of power struggles right now over our sexuality and gender identity and this whole crazy thing. So obviously, I don't have to point out the ways this is all manifesting in the world. Taurus, where the north node is currently, and Scorpio, where the south node is currently, are in fixed signs. So Taurus and Scorpio are fixed signs. So you may be feeling, and Aquarius was too. Aquarius is also fixed, but now Pluto's moved back into Capricorn. But with these north nodes in the fixed signs, or the nodes in the fixed signs, you might be feeling stuck or overwhelmed in how to approach all these different areas or even one area. However, once the north node moves into Aries and the south node moves into Libra, which are cardinal signs, and like I said, that happens July 17th, we are all going to get a swift kick in the ass from the universe. You won't be allowed to stay stuck any longer. This T-square will transform into power struggles over self, taking courageous action answering to your highest self. And you'll be able to do it in a way that can bring harmony and balance not only to yourself, which, my loves, is not being selfish. Anything that is for your greatest good is not being selfish. And to your intimate relationships in a whole new way. Now, of course, there can be shadow sides to that, but I really want to focus on the goodness that is going to come out of those nodal shifts. Will you choose the red pill or the blue pill? Will you choose sovereignty because you know this is the only way to move forward towards the new earth? Or will you stay stuck, even though it's eating you alive and making you angry and resentful? Will you continue to hide your gifts or get on your horse or your dragon and ride or fly through town with your banner held high? I always think of Joan of Arc when I think of Aries energy and the courage and the sovereignty that she had. And luckily, they're not burning anyone at the stake anymore. They might try. They might try via canceling and on social media and all this crap to burn people at the stake, but doesn't happen anymore, my friends. So you don't have to have that fear. Now, that may sound both a little scary and a little invigorating, but Gemini season has me excited about the nodal shift in July. It's always exciting when slower planets and points change signs. It always lights me up. I always get excited. So I'm looking forward to that. In the meantime, though, look at where you might be feeling stuck, where you might be giving up your power when it comes to your body, resources, assets, farming, food, etc. Okay, loves. Thank you for watching this all the way to the end. Thank you for being a badass spiritual rebel with me on this crazy journey as we create the new earth together. I am so, so, so grateful that you are here. Quick reminder that subscribes, comments, shares, and donations are so appreciated. To make a donation, just click the Buy Me a Coffee button at the bottom of the YouTube description or on my website, wherever you're watching this. I always send a little thank you note, a little thank you gift, and a note to those who donate. So watch your inbox for that, should you generously choose to donate to this cause. I am Jennifer Ness-Schmidt, coming to you as Divinely Jennifer. I love you. Have a beautiful, beautiful day, and I will see you the next time.